offenses in college football today go head-to-head Saturday afternoon, 2:30 Central. What's that going to be? 12:30 on the West Coast. We got Oregon and we got Washington. It's going to be a great game. It's number 7 Washington, number 8 Oregon. Is this fair? I think, in my opinion, personally, I think Oregon's the team to beat in the Pac-12 this year. Going into the season, it was going to be USC. Oregon has put up 80 points, 90 points in a couple of these games. Let me move this over real quick. We got some notes. We got some stuff to talk about. So, what about the Huskies? What have they done? Jalen McMillan, a wide receiver, has missed the last 2 games with a leg injury that he suffered against Michigan State. So, and there was some words said this week, no hatred, no nothing. This is a great rivalry game between these two teams. They call it the Border War or the Cascade Clash in the Pac-12 Conference with Oregon and Washington. Washington leads the series all time above 500, 61, 48, and 5. That's actually surprising to me, considering that Oregon has been the better program the past few years. Washington was the team that kind of made the playoff once and took steps back. I know Oregon, like Washington's made it more recently, but even Oregon has just skyrocketed. Think about Mario Cristobal being there, who's now at Miami, and I mean, he's losing to Georgia Tech. Anyway, but Mario Cristobal was the head coach for the Oregon Ducks for a while. Dan Lanning comes in from Georgia, defensive coordinator, and he takes over, and he's got this thing rolling, especially offensively. Let me look at what Oregon's done offensively this year, too. They opened the season up with Portland State. They're going to blow them out, but they scored 81 points. 81 points. Then they struggled with Texas Tech. They blew out Hawaii, scoring 55. They scored 42-6 on both Stanford and Colorado. Colorado first, then Stanford on the 23rd and 30th, respectively. So, they got to get back into that rhythm. It looked like it was going to be the best offense in college football, and it probably is right now. What about Washington? They've had some 50-point games. 59-32 against Cal. 56-19 against Boise State. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry, because both of these teams are actually coming off a bye, so I apologize. 31-24 over Arizona, 59-32 over Cal the week before. Michigan State, without Mel Tucker, who we won't get into all of that, but he's, of course, gone for Michigan State now. Well, what did Washington do to Michigan State? They scored 41 points and only held them to 7. Tulsa, 43-10. I could go down the list. And the rush defense for these teams is really good. I think both of these teams have a better run defense than a pass defense, at least based by the numbers and what you look at. Total yards passing, 330 for Washington, 330 for Oregon, 446 for Washington. Both these teams over 500 yards of offense. Incredible. I look at this game, I say it's going to come down to the offense. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be back and forth, and that's what I love to see. I just love college football in general, as I always say. But let me hear from you guys in the comments. Is a shootout better than a shutout in defensive style of game? Because I know there's a lot of people that are old school out there, and they love the hard-hitting nose tackles and stuff. I'm all for that, too. But I love a good shootout. I hope this is one of them, too. So, said this week, I think I just mentioned this too briefly, but Michael Penix talked about the importance this week of playing against Oregon. He said, "We understand that they're one of our rivals. You always want to beat your rivals. This game's going to come down to offense and who really wants to score more. I heard that from Michael Penix this week. I said, okay, he knows what's up. He knows what's going on. Bo Nix knows what's going on too. Both of these teams know. They know. This is a very important game. They call this rivalry the Border War or the Cascade Clash. They are 285 miles apart, the campuses are, going Interstate 5. They first met in 1900 when Oregon shut out Washington 43-0. And last year was a classic, 37-34. And Washington was ranked number 25. Oregon, I don't have it pulled up. I don't know where they were. They were ranked, though. It was an upset in Eugene. Wow. Washington leads the series. They won the last game. Oregon had won the last 3 before last year. That's what makes it so interesting. Then you have like this Tennessee-Alabama type of deal go on where Oregon had won over a decade from 2004 to 2016, right? In 2016, Washington finally got a win. And not only did they get a win, it was 70 points on Oregon. 70 points to 21. It's incredible. I'm excited for this game. Be an afternoon game. I'll be at work. But I hope you guys enjoy it. 5-0, top 10, 7 versus 8. Washington, they're favored. They are ranked higher. The matchup predictor puts them, though, at a 45% chance to win. And Oregon at a 55%. Is that right? I think it's almost a coin flip game. You take whoever you want to. No judgment here. There's no right or wrong answer. Both teams have a great quarterback. Both teams have amazing offensive lines. It's going to come down to the line of scrimmage. It's going to come down to the defenses. I don't really trust the defenses too much. Tysheem Johnson's really good on Oregon with 30 tackles. Kyrie Jackson has 2 interceptions. Jeffrey Bossa, Bryce, I don't want to butcher this name. Bocher, 21 tackles with a sack. Evan Williams, 2.5 sacks for 24 yards. Jordan Birch, watch his name, a defensive edge rusher. 3 sacks on the year for 27 yards. It's going to be great. What about Washington's defense? Then we'll get out of here. Elijah Jackson, 19 total tackles. What about the sacks? A lot of guys have 1 sack. You have Jabbar Muhammad, a corner. Braylon Trice, a defensive end, for a loss of 3 yards. So, of course, Cameron Fabicolin has an interception, or a couple interceptions at 2. So, I look at this. There's a lot of different names to go around on this defense that you just look at and you say, why aren't we talking about them? Because the offense steals the spotlight. See, the offense is still in the spotlight for Washington and Oregon this year. That's just all that matters in this game, right? There's going to be some defense, just a little bit, maybe a pick, maybe some punt. You can't expect it to be every single drive in a touchdown. Can you? I think it'd be awesome to see. But quarterbacks are going to make mistakes. They're human. Dominique Hampton, cornerback, leads Washington in tackles at 35. And then, whose name I cannot pronounce correctly, Fabiculin, Cameron, I'm not even going to try. Anyway, he's a cornerback as well. He has 2 interceptions. That's the defense. Rome Dunze, wide receiver, 600 plus yards receiving for Washington. Of course, Michael Penix, we know all about him. Michael Penix is 1 yard shy of 2,000. All he has to do is run the ball, get down to the 1 yard line, and throw it in the end zone. That's all he's got to do. He'll hit 200 or 2,000 in this game, and it's going to be amazing. Want to hear from you guys in the comments. What's your score prediction for this game? Do you take the points? Washington's favored by 3. I'm going to say it's on the money as far as the spread goes. It's going to be a 3-point game. But I'm going to take Oregon to get the road win. I'm going to take Oregon here. I love Bo Nix. I love them to win the... I had USC, but USC has kind of had some flashy, shaky problems this year. Oregon has come out of nowhere. Now, we knew they'd be good, but 90 to 80 points on these nobody teams. I know they're like these smaller schools, but 80 to 90 points is hard to get. It's hard to do. I'm going to take Oregon to win. We're going to say 45-42 the final score. It would not surprise me if Washington wins. This will be close. I think it comes down, I'm going to say a field goal wins it for Oregon. You'll have 42 points on the board. They'll have the ball last. They get in field goal range. They kick it. They get out of there. Go back home to Eugene. Want to hear from you guys in the chat. Got to hear your score predictions for this game. Let me know who should be favored. It is Washington. And I think it's probably just because of home field advantage. I love this. I've watched this game quite a few times in the past couple of years. And we've had some close ones. We've had some good ones. It was 10 points in 2021. 3 points last year. 4 points in 2019. Didn't play in 2020 because it was, weird, especially for the Pac-12. Overtime in 2018. Could this go to overtime? Very possible. Very doable. I love y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. Don't forget Tidal Wave Talk later on this afternoon on Friday. And we'll see you next time. Ballard Sports Media. Check it out. I love y'all. Peace.